All right. So what's this study about? Or who's this study focused on? Insomniacs who are old. Someday this will be young. Right now it's still old. All right. So old people who can't sleep are being studied. And what do we discover? That when they take melatonin, a hormone produced by the, can anyone pronounce this?
Pineal gland?
That was my guess. I looked it up online. Pineal.
Like pine needle, but no D.
Yeah.
Pineal.
Thank you. Yes. Pineal. The pineal gland. Okay. So melatonin is produced by the pineal gland. Thus, the recent claims made by manufacturers of melatonin supplements that the pineal gland produces less melatonin as it ages are evidently correct. In other words, it worked on these old insomniacs. Therefore,
It works for
therefore, it works for all older people, right? So what did we just do? We shifted from a subset of old people to a broader set, and unfortunately, a very biased set, right?
Yeah.
Insomniacs. Okay, do all old people have this melatonin deficiency? We have no idea. Okay. So let's go through these answers. This is a flaw question, right? Clearly. What are the two things you can ask yourself as you're reading each answer choice?
Is this happening?
Is this happening? Is this a problem? So let's start with answer choice A. When it says infers, what does that mean in plain English? What? I heard concludes. Who said it?
I did.
Julie, you're right. It means concludes. Concludes from the effect of an action. What's the effect?
That it was helpful.
Yeah, that the melatonin worked, right? The melatonin supplements worked. That the action is intended to produce that effect. Was the conclusion that melatonin is intended to help you sleep better?
It's just that it does.
Huh?
They just say that it does.
They just said that it does, not that it was intended to or whatever. So this whole intention thing comes out of nowhere. And so this is not even describing what's happening. So this is wrong. We don't even have to get into whether this is a problem. All right, B. Relies on the opinions of individuals who are likely to be biased. Wait, now the insomniacs, they're an unrepresentative sample, right? So they're kind of like a biased sample. Why is this wrong?
Wait, but isn't the conclusion relying on the opinions of manufacturers of melatonin supplements?
Well, see, the conclusion isn't relying on their opinion.
On this one.
It's just saying that their opinion is right. To rely on their opinion would be to use them as evidence and then say, therefore they are right, or therefore this other thing must be right because they said this. All the conclusion is saying is that their claims, which they have made, are correct.
I see.
It doesn't rely on their opinion. But if you try to twist this around and make it work, you say, wait a sec, it does rely on the opinion of the old insomniacs? Not necessarily. The study just looked at what actually happened. We don't necessarily need their opinion to figure out whether it worked. So no matter how you interpret B, it doesn't fit. It's not happening. This is wrong. C, depends on two different meanings for the same term to draw its conclusion. I didn't know which term they were referring to. Did you guys have an idea of which term seemed to be shifting in meaning? I'd be curious for anyone who was tempted by this one. I didn't think of that. So, okay, D. Confuses an effect of a phenomenon with its cause. Is this a correlation causation problem and now we're confusing the cause and effect? No. Melatonin is presumably helping these people feel better. But in any case, I don't see a correlation causation thing here. E, relies on a sample that is unrepresentative. Yes, old insomniacs are not representative of old people. Sound good? All right. Any other questions on this one? Which ones were we debating?
I liked D.
D?
Yeah.
Oh, that's the one I kind of dismissed a little quickly. Was that the most tempting wrong answer? What was the cause and effect that you were looking at?
I felt like age and insomnia going together.
Oh, okay.
It's like-
So age.
Or age and low melatonin production by the glands. Because it says like, thus the recent claims.
That the pineal gland produces much less or less melatonin as it ages.
Yeah.
So you're saying the cause is you getting older. The effect is that the pineal gland produces less melatonin.
Mm-hmm.
Is it that those things are switched?
I think like,
That the pineal gland actually causes you to get older? Or the lack of production of melatonin causes you to get older? Like we don't have that switch, right?
right. I think I was like catching on to the flaw in the argument, but I like didn't fully understand what it was. Like,
Yeah.
because it's related to the actual.
There are some causation things
like,
going
issues
on
with
here.
assuming that like all old people have insomnia, basically. Like, yeah. Like I get it now.
You get
I was a little different. I thought that they could have had the low melatonin causing insomnia, or insomnia could have caused the
Yeah,
low melatonin.
I kind of had the same
Yeah, that's
thought
where my-
Oh, okay.
too.
So low melatonin, this argument is saying that low melatonin is causing insomnia, and you're saying, well, wait, maybe insomnia causes low melatonin. Although, I guess the conclusion is ultimately about the pineal gland, saying that just that there's less melatonin, as opposed to explicitly that less melatonin is, like, that's almost like an assumption. Well, it's not totally clear in my mind, which is kind of an indication that it's probably not happening exactly, right? I see that there are definitely some causation things here. Do we see why E is correct? Rob?
Yes, when you were explaining it.
Okay.
Yes.
Great. I'll have to think about that one a little bit more and try to see if I can get almost there and then see why it's wrong. But right now it just seems like I'm having trouble identifying the cause and effect that we're switching around and fitting that in with the conclusion. Courtney?
I was stuck on this one. I was thinking about taking the melatonin and then like kind of like curing the insomnia. Like I know that's not really like even related to what the conclusion they make, but I was like, I don't know, I guess I wasn't really focused on that. I was just like, oh, like
Okay,
they're, like,
so
taking medicine and like getting better.
there's a
so,
correlation,
like,
right? So they take the medicine and their symptoms are relieved. So there's a correlation between taking the melatonin and their symptoms being relieved. That doesn't necessarily mean that taking the melatonin is the cause of that.
Right. No,
So-
I understand that. I just like that's why I was like.
So then you're thinking, hey, like correlation, causation,
Yeah.
maybe, okay.
Because I was looking at A too, just because I was kind of like, oh, maybe that's what's wrong. Is that like, I just was like looking at all the ones that had something about like effect, cause and I don't know.
Yeah.
I like wasn't.
So one thing about this is you could say, yeah, maybe the melatonin isn't causing them to feel better, but that ignores almost like a bigger problem here with the
Yeah.
unrepresentative sample. So I'd still go back to this.
Yeah.
Okay.